Thomas had been walking for hours, his feet aching, and his body numb from the cold wind that bit at his skin. He had lost his jacket somewhere along the way, and now regretted not bringing a warmer one. His thin sweater offered little protection against the chill in the air. As he turned a corner, he noticed a small alleyway between two buildings. The entrance was narrow, and looked like it hadn't been cleaned in weeks. Thomas hesitated for a moment before deciding to investigate. Maybe there was something useful inside. The alleyway was dark and musty, the smell of rotting garbage filling his nostrils. He fumbled in his pocket for his phone to light up the way, but it was dead. Suddenly, he heard a faint noise coming from the end of the alleyway. It sounded like someone or something was rummaging through the trash. Thomas's heart raced as he approached the source of the noise. He peered into the darkness and saw a figure hunched over, searching through a pile of garbage. As the figure stood up, Thomas realized it was a young woman, dressed in tattered clothes and covered in dirt. She looked up at him with a mixture of fear and desperation in her eyes. "Please, don't leave me here," she begged, her voice shaking. "I have nowhere else to go." Thomas was taken aback by her words and the sincerity in her voice. He hesitated for a moment before deciding to help her. Maybe this was the warmth he had been searching for all along. "I won't leave you here," he said, his voice firm but gentle. "Let's find somewhere else to go." Together they left the alleyway and walked through the city, searching for a place that could offer them both some warmth and shelter. As they walked, Thomas noticed the woman's hands were trembling and her teeth were chattering. He realized she must have been living on the streets for a while now. "My name is Sarah," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been living like this for months. I lost my job and my apartment, and I couldn't afford to pay my bills anymore." Thomas felt a pang of empathy in his heart. He had never experienced such hardships before, but he knew what it was like to feel lost and alone. He reached out and took her hand, trying to offer some comfort. "I'm Thomas," he said, "and I know how it feels to be in your shoes, but we'll get through this together, okay?" Sarah nodded, her eyes filling with tears. They walked on, searching for a place that could offer them some warmth and hope. As they walked, Thomas realized that sometimes the things we search for the most are right in front of us, hidden in unexpected places. And sometimes all we need to do is take a chance on someone else to find the warmth we crave. After walking for hours, they finally found a small homeless shelter that was open 24/7. They went inside and were greeted by a kind volunteer who offered them hot tea and blankets. Thomas and Sarah sat together, sipping their tea and trying to warm up. "Thank you for helping me," Sarah said, her voice filled with gratitude. "I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't been there." Thomas smiled and squeezed her hand. "We're in this together now," he said, "and we'll get through it as long as we have each other." As they sat there, Thomas realized that he had found the warmth he had been searching for all along. It wasn't in a cozy cafe or a heated home, but in the kindness of a stranger and the hope of a better tomorrow. And sometimes, all it takes is a small act of kindness to find the warmth we need. As they drank their tea and talked, Thomas and Sarah found comfort in each other's company. They discovered that they had more in common than they initially thought. Both had lost their jobs due to the economic downturn, and both were struggling to make ends meet. They laughed and cried together, sharing their stories and supporting each other through the tough times. As the night wore on, Thomas realized that he had found not only warmth, but also a newfound sense of purpose. He had always been driven by his own goals and ambitions, but now he felt a sense of fulfillment from helping others. He looked over at Sarah and saw the hope and determination in her eyes. She too had found a sense of purpose, and together they were determined to make a better life for themselves. Over the next few weeks, Thomas and Sarah became inseparable. They continued to search for jobs and a place to live, but now they had each other's backs. They spent their days exploring the city, searching for hidden gems and new experiences. They found a small cafe that served the best coffee in town, and a park where they could sit and watch the sunset. They even found a used bookstore where they could spend hours browsing through the shelves, discovering new authors and old favorites. As the weeks turned into months, Thomas and Sarah's friendship grew stronger. They found a small apartment that they could afford and started to rebuild their lives. They got jobs at local businesses and spent their evenings cooking dinner and talking about their day. They had found the warmth they were searching for, and it was in each other's company. Years later, Thomas and Sarah were sitting on their couch, holding hands and looking back on their journey. They had found success and happiness, but more importantly, they had found each other. They knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together as long as they had each other's backs. And sometimes, all it takes is a small act of kindness to find the warmth we need to make it through the tough times. What was Thomas searching for when he entered the alleyway? Thomas was searching for warmth when he entered the alleyway. What did Sarah do when Thomas approached her in the alleyway? Sarah begged Thomas not to leave her there, as she had nowhere else to go. How did Thomas and Sarah find comfort in each other's company? Thomas and Sarah found comfort in each other's company by sharing their stories and supporting each other through the tough times. What did Thomas realize he had found as he sat with Sarah in the homeless shelter? Thomas realized he had found a newfound sense of purpose from helping others. How did Thomas and Sarah's friendship grow stronger over time? Thomas and Sarah's friendship grew stronger over time as they continued to support each other through life's challenges and found success and happiness together.